Really?
Mom, why are you not ready for this thing? That's the thing I'm asking.
What do you mean, why am I not ready? I'm ready. I'm just nervous.
No, it's not about that. It's like, should have charged your phone. You already told me like 40 minutes before you do live. It's like you're self-sabotaging.
You know we're live, right? And people can hear. Okay, no one is live though.
No, I think you have to press finish. I'm not finished now.
10%. Answer to hii. Sorry. Hele ndo nimejua live. How hardly. Pause. Yay.
What do you pause?
How do people just go live like this? This is awkward. There's no pausing. We go on. We start. Thank you. I might put it the other way around. Enough and you see balance. It's going to die. It will. Ah, yeah. Whew, okay. Sorry about that. A few technical hitches for all of us who don't do lives like me. Today is that one day when things don't happen to go the way you want. Anyway, hi everyone and thank you for joining our live today. My live. Enyewe mimi siwezi kuwa mtu wa YouTube channel. This is very awkward. But hey, all right. I think I can start and I can go on and talk about this very important topic because I feel this is an important topic that it's a topic that we basically don't really want to talk about it. We find it awkward, odious, and I find a lot of people don't really want to talk about it because for them abortion is equals to murder. And we have to ask ourselves a few questions regarding abortion. What is abortion? Why is it necessary? Should we be advocating for safe abortions? Should we even talk about it? Or is this that one thing that no one ever wants to talk about because it's anti-religious, it's anti, I hear a lot of people saying it's anti-family and it's anti a lot of things. I want to come with it from the perspective of what I have seen in our work in sexual and gender-based violence. That's one of the perspective, and in the amount of teenage pregnancies that happen to be happening in this country right now. And also, I would like to hear what are your thoughts. So even as we continue, I'd love to know what you think. Even as I continue, first of all, I am pro-choice. I believe and I advocate for the choice of a woman or an individual to make a choice on whether they want to get an abortion or not. So I am pro-choice. And I know most people say, I don't know, most people in this country are not pro-choice. Pro-choice means you have the right to your body, to what happens in your body. Last Wednesday, I took a 10-year-old. This 10-year-old, she was 6 months pregnant. And I could actually look at the effect of how it meant to be young and pregnant and not have any choices or any options that were available for her. I remember we stood in... there's a place before you get to Naivasha. What is this place called? The one that you have chips and chicken. Chicken Inn. Somewhere along the Nairobi-Nakuru Road. We stopped to have lunch. And you could see the way everyone was looking at me for having a 10-year-old. And she's pregnant and her pregnancy was really visible. And she was really young. And just looking, everyone was looking at us like, huyu mama akona mtoto. I could feel the judgmental stares that everyone was, was condemning on me as we were having lunch with her. And I asked myself, what choice does this girl have? What choices do we give a girl as young as 10 who is pregnant? What choices does she have? She's 10. I have a 10-year-old son. I have to consistently remind him to just make his bed. Every morning, I have to remind him. And I was looking at her and I was asking myself, if this was my son who was pregnant, for example, who would remind her to change the baby's diaper? Who would remind him to how to be a good mother? You know, in this case for this girl, who's going to remind her? Who's going to tell her? She wants to play. In fact, when we got to the place where I was taking her, she just ran out and just went to play, irrespective of whether she was pregnant or not. And I realized this is a child carrying a child. And we are not giving her any choice. There is no choice. This is it. This is the life we are condemning her to have. Just to be pregnant, and that's it. And most people will say, Njeri, but abortion is murder. But then I'm asking you, how many of you that advocate that abortion is murder are willing to take up children and take care of them? Because for a country that insists that we are Christian and insists that we are not we are anti-choice, pro-life, that's the word I'm looking for. And for a country that says that we are pro-life, how many of us have adopted children? We shouldn't have any orphans running around not being taken care of. So my question is, why is it that we insist? I said I'm pro-choice. That means I advocate for the right for a woman to have a baby. It's her choice, it's her body, it's her journey. I'm asking, why are you pro-life? Why? And how many of us are willing to talk about this topic that is needed right now? Out of the 9,700 girls in Kilifi that went home during Corona, that season when we were not in school, only, is it 2,530 went back to school? So we have 6,000 girls pregnant in Kilifi, and that's it. 11,000 in Trans Nzoia. We have 600,000, we had 354,000 girls who got pregnant in that was 2019. Those are the data. Can you imagine how many girls have gotten pregnant in 2020 and where this baby is going to go? And who is going to take care of these babies? And what is the life of these young mothers? And that is why I'm bringing up this topic, because we need to talk about it, right? Yep, I'm looking to see if there are any questions. Obviously, there are none. Nobody wants to admit that this is something they even want to ask. So, safe to choose. Who are they and what do they do? And why is it important to talk about this information? I haven't seen any questions. Anyone wants to ask any question? Anyone wants to say anything about this? Nope. Okay. All right, sawa. Continue. All right. So when safe to choose, I came across safe to choose when I was looking at what options do. The only thing in Kenya is abortions are illegal, unless that's according to the constitution, unless the life of the mother is in jeopardy. That is the only time that in this country abortion is permitted to be had. And every time I post and I talk about a teenage girl that we have that needs, a lot of people come out and they say, Njeri, why can't this girl have an abortion? Because it is not permissible by law to have an abortion in this country. Unless there are circumstances, extenuating circumstances that surround that issue. But the thing is, does that mean we don't have abortions? Or is it that we don't have safe abortions? Because abortions continue. You just need to visit Kenyatta Hospital. There is a particular ward there, and you will find so many people who had bad backstreet abortions that have actually, the mortality rates of women in Kenya who had abortions and die is so high, which means as long as abortions are illegal and there is no access to safe abortions, then women and children and girls are still going to die. So again, why don't we have safe abortions? And why aren't they permitted when they are happening in the backstreet? Access to safe abortions is not there, yet they keep on happening. If doctors would actually speak and tell you the number of women they have seen and children It's incredible. And no, abortion is not a way to, having abortion being legalized doesn't mean that it's now, it is, what do I want to say? If abortion is legalized today, it's not a form of contraception. It's not a form of contraception. Sometimes people have an abortion because an accident happened, a condom slipped out, rape, you know, so many reasons why women should be permitted to, you know, have a choice. You had an agreement with somebody and then the person backed out, and now you're left with a whole child, and you're the one who's going to hold it all the way until that child grows. And so many reasons why a woman can have an abortion, but selectively it's her body. Today I saw somebody saying, there was this thread that I saw about the many adverse effects that women have over pregnancy, things that we don't talk about. And I'm just looking at these girls that I took, 5 of them, that I went to look for different homes, because all of them were kicked out of their homes last week, and I had to look for different homes that could take them in. And my question was, what about these other over 300,000 teenage girls that got pregnant over this corona season? What happens to them? I saved 10. What about the other 590,000 something? They're all out here and they don't have a choice, and that's it. That's it for their lives. And that is a topic that we don't want to talk about when we don't want to face the question about abortion, is what happens to these kids? What happens to them? What happens to all these children that we don't take care of? We are all pro-life until it becomes a child is born, and then no one is pro-life. So, what are your thoughts about abortion? What do you think? Should we have abortions? Should be they legalized? This is not a promoted video. This is just something that I happen to think we need to talk about. And it's a conversation that is very important to me and to people that it affects. And that's to us, to you who is watching, to you who's going to watch later. What are your thoughts about abortion? And do you think it should be legal? Do you think there should be safe access to abortions? Do you think that this is something that we should stop just, procrastinating about and just honestly own it as Kenyans? Because whether we own it or not, abortions are happening. Backstreet, children are dying, children are pregnant, and we still don't want to own the fact that this is happening in our country. And so when I was looking at Safe to Choose and pinkshoes.org, and they have a fantastic website that you can actually go through that answers most of your questions that you would have in regards to matters of the abortion pill. That's what they offer, or the services they offer. I was just looking at it and I was wondering what would happen if we advance this in our country. Do you think this would help in curbing the number of abortions that we have? They have a chatbot, so I was looking at what they do and how they bring it about. You just talk to the chatbot, and the chatbot gives you counsel. It counsels you. Do you want to have an abortion? Why is an abortion important? Is it something that you want to do? Are you allowed to change your mind? What happens when what is the process for them? They have something they call I don't know how to read that name. But it's generally the pill they give is called an abortion pill. What happens? What is the process? How long it takes? And how long is a safe abortion? It just gives you those choices. And it occurred to me that this is something that we all need to talk about, and that's why I'm on live today. For the first time ever, I've never been on live. Ever. And I'm glad to have this topic today. Vice News have something on YouTube in Kenya, and one of the things that they did was they even showed a backstreet abortion clinic and the whole process, and the girl who was having an abortion was like 12. And I was like, we have a problem in this country that we need to face head on. So that's our topic today. Nimeongea. Hamna kitu ya kuuliza, hamna swali, hamna anything. Ni Njeri tu huku tu ameenda live tu anaongea. Ama how do you check for the questions? Me, I don't know. Hizi vitu za live sinaambia mimi sijaidu. Never. So safetochoose.org are in Kenya, as well as pinkshoes.org for all the questions that you would have in regards to abortion. Okay, they're not really in Kenya per se, but they are in, their website is live. There is a chatbot that is very friendly. I just went through it. It's something for people who would ever consider, and they would give you the answers for these questions. For those people who would want to know better. Safe to Choose, Pink Shoes, those two organizations, they offer, they give you the data, the basics, everything you need to know about, myths about abortions, just to be on the safer side. Be well read, everything is on the internet. All right. Yes. Somebody said, actually, when the question you've asked, that myths about abortions, they are there. It's listed. Everything is just there. It's such a friendly and safe space for somebody who wants to know these things about what actually happens. Joy, even in country where it's legal, those questions are compulsory. Oh, nice. Truth is, abortion, whether legal or illegal, happens every day in the country. I think it should be made, people who oppose it publicly. Actually, yes, interestingly enough, I was talking to a doctor, and the one thing they said is that some of the biggest people who procure abortions are not as you would think, as young girls, but the people who really procure abortions are actually married women. They are some of the highest people who procure abortion. And people say we cannot talk about abortion when people are still struggling with infertility. But the thing is, whether you're struggling with infertility or not, people still give birth. So the person accessing safe abortion, what we should have are choices, questions. Well, abortion is illegal, demonic, and the work of the devil and cannot be accepted. Says the man who beat his wife, but that's a topic for another day. Why are you even in my life, Mr. Musili? Anyway, I will not denigrate this to that. The thing is, and this is what I'm going to say today, whether we advocate or we don't advocate for abortions, abortions are happening. In the back streets, illegally, unsafely, women and girls are dying out of abortions. You will, whether we talk about it or we make it clear, people who actually have the money are able to access safe abortions. Poor people are the ones who don't access safe abortions. They're the ones who use the hangers. They're the ones who use herbs. They're the ones who use so many other things. But given the momentous things that is happening in this country right now, I'm asking, we have 600,000 teenagers who are pregnant in Kenya as a whole. That means, if just assuming every one of them gives birth to a live birth, one child, that's 1.2 children who have children. We have you'll have 600 children who have 600,000 children. That number is not a joke. So whether we advocate for comprehensive education, which we all don't want to do, and then we don't want to talk about it, so this becomes a taboo subject, yet it happens. That's the question. It happens. And we are well aware that these things happen. Okay? So it's a broken society. We don't want to talk about abortions. Abortions are happening. We want to demonize abortions and say that this and this is happening. But even if you go back to traditional African society, the midwives knew about herbs that would actually remove abortions. That means these things have been happening with or without us. And when we don't talk about abortions and we don't normalize this conversation and we don't give these children choices, then what happens is that these other children that were born from other children, or even from these other women who don't willingly want these children, they don't treat them the same way they treat the other children, because these are children that were never wanted. And the people who keep on saying that, Somebody says, I'm pro-life. Having been there, I know the benefits of retaining life. They by far outweigh the reasons. With proper counseling, if you have advanced counseling and then you are presented yourself, people keep on saying, oh, you will hear children crying and so on and so forth. There are psychological effects of having an abortion. The question becomes then, to me, the question is, who is going to help you raise these children that you are going to have? Who is helping us? Who helps when let's say, for example, we don't have an abortion and we go on? Who is going to help us raise these children? Whose problem are these children that we are not having? And when we don't give the choice out here for a safe abortion, then the person goes for an illegal abortion. Somebody says that safe abortion is expensive. If I can't afford money for pads, I probably can't afford the amount for safe abortion. And if I am not, I can't be able to, I will obviously look for a clandestine abortion. That's a backstreet abortion. Right, so 2 in 8 will not make it, either via backstreet abortion or due to maternal mortality. So, we had a child. We have a child who is 12. She gave birth in hospital. The other day, I think I even fundraised for her. What I did not say is that the child got an obstetric fistula because they allowed her to give birth normally. So we had to take the child back to hospital to be repaired for the fistula. That was the thing that happened. This is something I have seen. This is why I'm even talking about this. Because the things I have seen in the past 2 weeks, no one should be seen. Children shouldn't have to go through that. No one should have to go that. We need to talk about safe abortion. We need to talk about post-abortion care. We need to talk about pre-abortion counseling. If my child comes today and they tell me, Mommy, I am pregnant, I will take them to a counselor. And I would hope the counselor would give them all the options. I would give them, of course, my take. I was a teenage mother, so I know what it is to raise a child when you're still a child. It's not funny. It's not pleasant, really. I would watch when my peers would go and do things, but I couldn't do those things because I was at home raising a baby that I had no business raising. And I wasn't even young, I was 16. So you can see. But imagine now a 12-year-old. And I'm not even just talking about these teenagers. I'm even talking about the fact that women should not have children that they don't want to keep. They shouldn't. They shouldn't. It's not... it shouldn't be something that is an option that we are discussing. I'm proud that, yes, I got to keep the baby, but I didn't even know I was pregnant until I was like 7 months pregnant. And it was the one time only that, I did this and I got pregnant. And so again, I'm going to keep on saying this. There are so many questions that people feel they need to be answered. These questions are on those websites. They're on Safe to Choose and also on pinkshoes.org. Any question you've ever imagined, any question you've ever wanted to know about abortions is right there. What your country says, what are the myths surrounding abortions. And every time I hear people saying, it has adverse psychological effects on you, that there's so much trauma associated with having an abortion. The thing I ask, what about the trauma of raising a baby that you're not ready for? Both for your body, for your mind, and also financially. What are the, when we deny somebody to have an abortion, again, back to the topic at hand. Why can't abortions be legalized, and is there a way you can have a safe abortion in this country if you don't have money? Because this is actually a topic for people who don't have money. For people who have money, this is something they do. They can afford. They can afford, and I'm going to ignore you, Philip Musili. Anyway, right, so back to the topic at hand. If I am the mother that wants to have an abortion, or you have somebody that you know, or you even just want to educate yourself, actually the beautiful thing is Safe to Choose has a course that they give that helps you to understand better. So this is something I would actually advise anyone who is on this live to go onto that website. It's a 1-week course, or is it 10-hour long course that you can actually go ahead and do and just understand this topic better, understand what people keep on talking about, understand. I'm not telling you that today you can become pro-choice. I'm just asking you, when your friend comes to you and they're talking to you and they're telling you, Njeri, I am stuck, I am pregnant, I don't know what to do, and then you're busy telling them, unajua, utadu hivi, utazaa tu. And then the day she gives birth, you are out of her life. The website is called Safe to Choose or pinkshoes.org. Safe to Choose, Safe is SAFE, to choose, like just TOCHOOSE, Safe to Choose or Pink Shoes. And I'm seeing a lot of people are of the opinion that abortion should be legalized and made safe. Because irrespective, again I will say, irrespective of whether or not we make it legal, people are still having abortions. People are dying. 2 in 8 women die from unsafe abortions. Yeah, from unsafe abortions. So there we go. And Safe to Choose is making it very easy for you to understand. Please ignore Philip Musili. Philip Musili is a wife beater. Philip Musili served me with papers to go to court because his wife ran into our safe house after he threw her out. So Philip needs help. So Philip, please leave the devil out of this, when you know the things that you have done. Kindly, tafadhali, toka kwa wali yangu, please. Yeah. In Ireland, heavily Catholic, where abortion is chargeable, they have a ship where women can go. Do we have such safe zone in KE or around KE? Yes, we do. Of course, I am a high advocate of people. Absolutely. I would wish nobody to get an abortion. That is obviously, and as I said when I started this live, abortion is not a contraception. It is not a method of contraception. People should use condoms. People should use contraceptives. And of course, if you have unsafe sex, chances are you will get pregnant. But the thing is, whether or not this happens, people still get pregnant. You could be using a condom and a condom slips out. There's so many reasons why people have abortions. So basically saying that when you're pro-choice, it means you actually, one of the things is that you advocate for contraceptions for women and condoms for men. But people still do stealthing. There's a lot of stealthing. You know, stealthing, the fact that somebody you started having sex with the person and they're wearing a condom, and then in between, the condom somehow magically disappeared, and now you're left holding a whole baby. So that is something that happens. And we have to also look at it. And condemning and saying that abortions are demonic is not going to stop them from happening. What we should be advocating is for safe abortions. For the access, this is the thing, access to safe abortions. That's what we should be talking about. And of course, 100%, I am pro-contraception, I am pro-safe sex, but irrespective, all these people who get raped and they get pregnant, one of the things that they're never offered is access to safe abortions. That should be your right. Safe abortion should be a reproductive right, according to me and according to the things I have seen in the past 1 week, having to go around with girls 14 and below who are all pregnant, none of which was even by choice. Not that even a child, those are children, so they can't even consent. So those are some of the things that I'm talking about. And again, I will keep on saying this. There is a chat bot. It's called Ali. It's on Safe to Choose. Yeah, so again, it's a personal, somebody says it's a personal decision. No one should be condemned whether they're pro-life or for the act. Personally, for me, it's a source of rape. I wouldn't keep, and my decision should be respected. Obviously, yes, I'm not saying, I didn't come on live to say that we should now that access to safe abortions means that now people should just go having abortions, whatever. The thing I am saying is every woman should have a right to decide for herself whether or not they want to have an abortion. And any choices and any questions that they have been addressed. Anything from the myths about abortions, from how the abortion pill works, how many weeks, if you are 16 weeks and below, you can be able to access the pill using an abortion pill, which is offered, and they can be able to tell you how it's done, where it can be done, and how you can access it. And that is why for me it was very important for me to come onto this live, just to let you know about it, because I listened to the chatbot, I heard what it had to say, and I thought this was something that I feel that I should tell the people who, in case you're not aware about it, about the safe abortion, access to it, and how you can go about it. This is for people who cannot be able to go, because we have hospitals that, they do this and they charge for it. So whether or not we want to talk, or we want to say we want to talk about it, or we go demonstrating and carrying small coffins and saying that abortion is illegal, it still happens. And what we should be talking and what we should be advancing and what we should be advocating for is for women and girls to be able to access a safe abortion if a need for such arises. That does not mean you shouldn't use condoms. But can you imagine you've been raped? You think you are going to tell that rapist, put on a condom? Or somebody has just, or something has happened and you find yourself in a position where you need an abortion. It means you have come to the last end, and you don't really have a choice, and that's why you want to have that abortion. So the reason I am coming up here today is to talk about, there is a website that is safe to choose, as well as Pink Shoes. Get in there, they have a chatbot. It's going to answer, it's a female chatbot. It's going to answer all the questions, any misgivings you've ever heard, anything that you've ever heard, myths, misconceptions, what happens. It actually gives you everything. What happens if you swallow the pill? What happens if you put in the pill vaginally? All those things are there. It's all answered. The pill is only up until the pregnancy is 11 weeks old. So that's a 3 months pregnancy. Anything after that, then that is something that they don't talk about on that. That one is something that now you need a doctor and surgery and so on. But if the pregnancy is between 0 to 11 weeks, then they will be able to advise you on what to do. And that's it for today. Thank you for joining my live, and thank you for listening. It's really appreciated. If people are sure, you know what, I'm going to block this man. And thank you again for joining us and for being here. Again, I will repeat, the website is Safe to Choose, as choose is CHOOSE, as well as pinkshoes.org. Any questions you've ever thought about, anything you've ever imagined is in there, as well as pre-abortion counseling, as well as post-abortion care. All those things are answered there. Thank you so much.